Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever time of day it is where you are. How y'all doing? It's so great to see each and every one of you who are joining either here live or on the replay. Tell me what's happening. Leave your um, uh, comments or any questions that you might have in the chat and say hello. Let me know where you're listening from, watching from. And also tell me about how's the weather where you are. Here in Detroit, it's another one of those great days where it's in the high 70s, little cloudy, but I'll take it. I think the warm weather is here now. Uh, It's just because I probably believe it. Sean, I was just thinking about you the other day. How are you and how are things in Spain? Oh my gosh. It's a holiday in Madrid. What kind of holiday is it? Oh, I'm so delighted that you've joined this day, this morning, afternoon, evening. What is it's probably evening where you are now. Thank you so much for being a part of the show today. We're going to have a great conversation. Saint Isidro. All right, thank you. And 3 o'clock. I figured it wasn't morning time there like it is now. So Sean and everyone who else who's with us today, thank you so much for being here and for joining and being a part of what I think is going to be a great conversation. So today, I want to share with you 3 ways that you can express yourself confidently in the workplace, in your career, in your business, your organization, and make your voice heard. For those of you who I haven't met yet, I'm Dr. Geneva, top LinkedIn leadership voice and a business and life certified coach. And I'm on a mission to empower, especially female leaders, but all leaders, to lead with greater impact, success, and joy. And so, this topic about being able to express yourself with confidence, not just running your mouth, but really being able to speak with a presence, with that executive presence, and being able to be viewed and considered as insightful because of the words used. This topic uh, has been a challenge for many of you. I get questions about it in the comments. A number of my clients bring it to me, and I myself had my own real deal experience with trying to express myself with a confidence, an assuredness that mattered. When I started in my career, I was the only one who looked like me in most rooms. I was the youngest. I was the only woman around and usually the only person of color. And so I felt real intimidated in most of the meetings and settings and exchanges that occurred in my organization. And it was that intimidation. It was also the fear of, am I going to say the right thing? Will I misspeak on something? Or will I be dismissed? Would I be not thought of as being thoughtful, a leader, contributing? And so all of those emotions were in me like a constant companion. And so I really had to work my way through that because I knew how important a well placed word or strategic question or the right conversation meant in terms of my career. And all of us, as we're trying to move up that ladder or make it in business, how we speak, how we show up, what we say, how we articulate our words matters. So, why is it important? Because we want to get noticed. We want to be there for the decisions, and we want to have that influence and have that our opinion matter and be able to speak it and talk it. Sometimes it's often called having that executive presence, and how you articulate and communicate makes up that presence. It's a very important part. And the other reason why it's important for us as leaders to be able to speak confidently is that we ourselves can break the mold. Do you know what I mean? What I mean is that we, in fact, those assumptions about us, if we're younger or if we're seasoned or if we're a woman or whatever it is, those assumptions that people make about you, you can, in fact, bust those myths, break those molds because you're articulating, you're speaking, and you're showing who you are and what you believe when you can speak up and speak in a confident manner. And then again, speaking, being able to express yourself does help you move up the ladder because you're seen, you're heard, you're recognized, and that makes a difference. And this also plays into the whole aspect of networking and building relationships, because speaking up helps you establish those relationships. You can't be connected with folk if you ain't talking, okay? And being able to express yourself. So those reasons are important to us in terms of speaking up and being confident in how we articulate ourselves. So I want to leave you with 3 ways that you can speak up with confidence. Now, you may be someone who, hey, Dr. Geneva, I got it. When I go into a meeting, when I see my colleagues, when I'm out networking, I do my thing. I'm always speaking up. Great. And there might be some of you who say, well, depending on the situation, I'm pretty good at speaking up. But when I move or I'm in a new situation, I'm not as confident. Wherever you are in terms of your experience of expressing yourself confidently and with executive presence, these strategies are going to help you, be one step better, elevate a little bit more. So here we go. The first, okay, good morning. I see many of you are coming in, so I just wanted to stop and say good morning again. Thank you for joining. Appreciate you being here. All of you, thank you. And if you have questions, please put them in the chat. Or if you want to have a conversation with me down the road, just DM me and let me know because I'm here for you. So, the first strategy I want to talk about in helping you express yourself better and more confidently is to ask great questions. Oftentimes when we go into a meeting and we're kind of trying to figure out, oh, what am I going to say? What information am I going to put out there? You don't have to do that. Perhaps what you would do, perhaps what you put out there that would make a difference is to ask a question. And this form of inquiry, you being curious, really is about helping to steer the conversation. Perhaps you'll ask a question that's going to demonstrate that you do understand the subject matter, but you press in the envelope in terms of your insight. And so you ask a thoughtful question that can help uncover even deeper insights in the conversation. And oftentimes when we ask good questions, it can really show our ability to critically think about an issue. I remember when I moved from being a staff member into the position as leader of a big organization. And I had been in the organization for many, many years and was intimately familiar with every aspect of the organization. But when I stepped into the position, I decided the number one position, I decided that I would start with a beginner's mindset, if you will, and ask critical questions. Great questions, particularly with my board and the chair of my board. Because even though I knew these people, the relationship was now different. So I was feeling a little intimidated. And I knew that my stepping into this role was the first time ever that a woman was in this position. So there was a whole lot of stuff I felt, the weight of performance and being the best, and all of that was in the mix. So instead of always responding, putting myself in the position of, well, what am I going to say? Thinking about what I would say, I decided that I would go on this journey of asking great questions. And this allowed me to speak up confidently, because, of course, I had thought about all the questions beforehand. Okay, so I knew them. And this was a way to really have people think about things other than the day-to-day, because I would really ask those critical questions like, how do you think the organization should move forward? What can we do better to serve more people? How can we accelerate the growth of our organization? Really critical questions. What can we change? What should we do different? And so I found myself with these series of questions that I would use to speak up with and to my board, to my chair, to members of the staff. I'd go around asking these questions. And it really gave a level of confidence because, well, first of all, like I said, I knew the questions I was going to ask, but also it stimulated conversation and engagement in a way that No other technique can when you really ask these great questions. So I'd like you to think about this using this strategy, thinking about how you can be curious, how you can demonstrate your interest in whatever the issue is, whatever the conversation is, whoever the people are that you're talking to and with. Because the other thing about asking great questions, and you don't have to come into a meeting or a situation with them all prepared, you can be in a room and listen actively, which, as you know, is another great leadership quality. And so by listening and hearing the conversation and then posing and having those questions out there that people can ponder, it can help you speak up with confidence. And so the second way, another way to make your voice heard, is to plan on speaking to make a difference. So hear me now. So the conversation really isn't about displaying your knowledge, letting people know all the things that you know, but rather it's about using your voice, your ideas, your conversation to improve situations, to shape the conversations, to get results. It's almost like the difference between a chef and a cook. So, like a cook, follows the recipe, makes sure that the meals are right, the right ingredients are there, that everything goes according to the recipe. A chef, on the other hand, really is making meals and putting things together to wow you, taking it a step above, elevating, really wanting you to remember that experience, the experience of this delicious cuisine, the wonderful food after you've eaten it. So the chef has a mission to make your meal and what you're doing an experience that's memorable. And think about how you engage in conversations at your workplace and with others. And think about, well, maybe I'm just not here to communicate the facts, the data, the information, but really I'm here to make a difference, to shape the conversation, to influence what it is that we need to do. And hey, perhaps this can boost your confidence as well, because in your voice, in how you're talking, you know that you're there to make a difference. So, it's the mindset about this that is different. I remember when I was working on the issue of lead poisoning prevention for young people, particularly young people, because there was a lot of lead in the homes, and we wanted to bring together, a wide variety of people and individuals from all walks of life, all across the state, mayors, legislators, policymakers, just a room full of, we would have these rooms full of highly influential people that we were trying to convince to demonstrate how important this issue was. And we wanted to bring them into the conversation and be a part of the collaboration to solve this problem. And this is the kind of work that I would do on many, many different issues. And one of the strategies that I would use, because those kinds of situations can be very intimidating, and you're always wonder because you're going to get the questions and people are going to say, well, what's happening? And all of this that goes on. And there were many a times when I wondered whether I would misspeak or, put a quote out there that perhaps wasn't on target or a fact or a statistic. What I decided to do was to switch and shift my conversation and really talk about those things that would make a difference in the dialogue, that would show my passion about the issue, the belief that we could, working together, solve this problem. And I would speak up about the possibilities and the opportunities for us to collaborate to make a difference. So I used my voice to speak up to make a difference. And you have those things that you're passionate about and that you can want to speak about, and not just the facts and the figures and the information and the knowledge, because frankly, these days anybody can really Google the facts and the information. But you have a lived experience, you have a passion about a particular issue, you have wisdom. Bring that to the table and use your voice to speak and make that difference. Do you see what I'm saying? So that you enter a room, you enter a conversation, you go to a meeting, not with on your mind just sharing facts and data and numbers and statistics, but rather figure out your conversation, what you can say, how you can speak up to make a difference, to influence the conversation. And guess what? And here's the other thing. Here's the other secret about that, is that it will show up in your voice. Okay? You're using your lived experience, your passion. It's going to come out. You're going to hear it. Everyone is going to hear it. Okay. Does that make sense? Does that make sense to y'all? Okay. Again, remember, this second strategy is about speaking up to make things better. Okay? Not just sharing the information. Okay. So the third, so this making sense? Let me know. Give me a comment. And if give me a comment. If you want to have further conversation on this, please DM me, direct message me, let me know in the comments. I'd be delighted to have a conversation with you on these techniques and others. Oh, great. I see people are liking the tip, and yes, use your voice for influence based upon your passion. I love how you summarize that, Sharon. Okay, so the third strategy I invite you to think about, so that you can speak up more confidently at work with your peers, with your colleagues, is to speak to yourself first. So I want you to start the conversation in your mind before you ever open your mouth in a meeting or a presentation. This is about preparing yourself internally so that you affirm your value, you reinforce your right to be heard, you acknowledge that you're on this earth, you have something to say, and you're going to bring it. Speak to yourself first. I had to develop this early in my career. As you can imagine, as I shared with you about how I was typically, usually, the only one who looked like me in a room. And and many of the meetings that I would go to or anticipate, just even walking into the workplace, were intimidating, were concerning for me. And I wasn't quite sure what to do often. I was concerned that I would misspeak. Sometimes I felt that I wasn't even sure I should be there. All of those things. Well, working that through, of course, it was affirmations and those kinds of things, that positive self talk. I know none of them words back then. Okay. But I worked it through and have continued to use this as one of the strategies that works real good for me. And that is that I talk to myself first before I ever open my mouth. And I imagine that I'm about to enter a challenging meeting or going to give a major presentation. And instead of letting that doubt creep in, I remind myself, I say to myself, I do have valuable insights that I want to share. There are folk who will benefit from what I bring to the table. My perspective is unique and necessary. So over time, as we work to speak up more confidently, talking to ourselves first before we even open our mouth works. And it matters because after a while, the practice of it becomes very natural, helps you be very natural in your conversation and what you're doing. Because in essence, you're affirming your worth and your contributions beforehand, and you're confirming them to yourself, and you put yourself in the position to be confident. And so when you end up putting out them words, speaking, you already confident, so you come across that way. And so it's really about, I like to think about this strategy of speaking more confidently at a workplace. This strategy is really the stage setter. And it's just like you're playing a sport. I'm a golfer, used to play, of course, much more golf than I play now. But the routine beforehand, before you walk up to the tee, what you do before then, that matters. When you work out, your pre warm up, getting your body ready, getting your muscles warm, all of those things, they're pre warm ups, the get setting, the setting the stage. This strategy is what I'm suggesting to you is a good one that can work and build in that confidence. So your self-talk, as long as it's positive now, don't be running out there and doing no negative self-talk about, well, what if I slip and fall? Or what if I don't say the right thing? Or what if no one shows up? Or what? None of that. The self-talk that you're going to do is going to be all positive self-talk. And when you use it this way, it's really your secret weapon. Because at the end of the day, you're giving yourself permission to speak to speak the truth. Even if it's risky or intimidating, you give yourself permission through this self-talk. So those are the three strategies that I wanted to leave with you to invite you to really think about, um, as you figure out, as you want to be more confident in speaking up at your workplace, in your career, with others. So let's recap. The first is to ask great questions. Be that listener who's curious, who wants to have the conversation go a little bit deeper and can bring great questions. What? How? When? Could we? Can we consider? Really good questions. And think about them beforehand, because you can go into a meeting with two or three of them in your hip pocket. But when you're in a meeting or when you're talking with someone, listen. And if you're curious, those questions will come naturally. The second is to, right, I'm seeing some of the comments. Right. The second is to speak to make a difference. So you're not just in a room, in a meeting, in a conversation to show what you know, to make that great first impression. Use your voice to make a difference. Your passion and confidence will flow naturally. And third, make sure before you open your mouth that you speak to yourself first. All of these strategies will give you the confidence to speak up at the workplace. Well, thank you. I'm so delighted that you joined. And I'm looking, well, thank you very much. I'm glad you're liking the tips. Please, again, leave tips that you might have, or comments or questions. You can leave them right here with me. Positive affirmations. Bernadette, how are you? And congratulations to you on your graduation. I'm so proud of you. Thank you for being here and sharing. Rolani, oh my gosh, how are you? Good to see you. Mwah. Love you. So good to see you. Thank you so much, all of you. I want to thank you for being here. I so appreciate those of you who are here with me all the time. Those of you who are new on the replay, joining us live, thank you so much. Every day we can have a conversation at elevatenextlevelsuccess.com. So come on over and join elevatenextlevelsuccess.com. It's my community where every day I share words of wisdom about leadership, success, well-being, impact, all those kinds of things that we want to know about in our lives as we lead our lives. Elevate Next Level Success. If you're not a member, please come on and join. It's a free email community. Love it, love it, love you all. Thank you so much. Appreciate. Yes. Congratulations again, Bernadette. Thank you all very much. Appreciate you. Mwah. Love you.